Hey, it's Vincent here from Vincent Games. Welcome to a Modern League. We're supposed to be doing the Living End deck I'd recently made a video about, but I quite fancy playing Burn, and I'd also lent that deck out to a friend, so not able to play it right now. In the meantime, going to keep this hand. We have Goblin Guide and Lava Spike, 2 fetches to get green, Monastery Swiftspear. There's a lot going on in this hand. It's pretty much the ideal combination of early creatures and burn. More or less exactly what you're looking for. If you want to see the deck tech for this deck, then I will post a link for it in the description below, or you can just click here. I will get around to doing a Living End League at some point, but I need to get the cards back from my friend first. Okay, so going to go for the Stomping Ground to get the other colours, as I said, and Goblin Guide. Maximum damage. Of course. Blossoming Marsh is probably going to be Jund or perhaps Death Shadow. That's funny. You gotta love Goblin Guide. Okay, so we have a choice here. We can go Monastery Swiftspear, Lava Spike, which would be 2 off of the prowess, and 2 is 4, such 7 damage, or we could play the Eidolon. I am going to go with the Swiftspear. I feel like I want to play the Eidolon, but I'm going to try this because I think this is just putting a lot more pressure on our opponent here. I think we'll go Mountain, just because we don't want to take too much damage. We don't need to. Probably going to get Fatal pushed. Yeah. We're not losing out on masses of damage from the Eidolon, although that's a shame, losing the Eidolon there. That is a shame. Okay, right. If he's not going to be playing a land here, then yeah, just slow roll. I hope we don't get punished for not playing the Eidolon. Theory being I just wanted to be a little bit more aggressive. Probably should have attacked with the Goblin Guide. Hoped he Fatal pushes that and then cast Eidolon. Although we just get lucky and draw another one. Puts him in a difficult spot now because he's effectively on 7 because of the Helix, and anything he casts is then putting him to 5. Shockland's pretty rough. It does mean he'll get a nasty Death Shadow off of this. Has he got Delirium? Yes, he's got Delirium. So I imagine he'll get Death Shadow or Shriekmaw. Shriekmaw's good. Can't help the Shriekmaw. But I mean, his life total is very precarious. As I say, he knows about the Helix. So he's basically hoping I just don't draw particularly well in this draw step. What do you know? Not happy about him drawing a swamp. We will pass and not give away too much information. Pretty much any burn spell is exactly what we need. Just need to hope that there's no sort of stupid life gain. We've got a decent amount of turns. Okay. Well, I didn't expect that. targeting himself, which I think is a bit loose. I mean, he's got 4 cards in hand. Those cards have got to be pretty awful. I would be tempted to target me as he just dies to any burn spell off the top. Or another haste creature. Or did he target me? It looked like he targeted himself. I don't know. I mean, if he targeted me, then, as I say, I think that's better. He's going to bolt him, or helix him, Slagstorm. And that, I would hope, is that. Yep. I missed if he targeted me or himself there. I would hope he's targeting me in that situation, for his sake, because every card that I draw that is not a land will just kill him on the spot. So I'm not entirely sure if he did target himself, what he was thinking there, but anyway. So it looks as though he's attempting to fill his graveyard for Delirium, get Death Shadow. Because of Death Shadow, he wants Path to Exile. I don't think Slagstorm is really that great in this matchup. I don't see a reason to run Ancient Grudge. Yes, he's playing Architect of Will, but that is a 4 mana 3/3, which I don't think he is really playing that to actually cast 4/4 mana. I do, however, like to Deflecting Palm. If we get into a situation where we're racing against Death Shadow, I can totally imagine a scenario where we redirect a big Death Shadow attack and hopefully kind of steal a game out of nowhere. As for cards we want to take out, I think Lava Spike is probably where we want to be in terms of swapping out cards on curve. Pretty much matches Path to Exile exactly, just the one of Deflecting Palm. I think taking out Lava Spike and keeping in Boros Charm is probably better. I mean, potentially Searing Blaze could come out, actually, as there aren't going to be that many creatures we can realistically get with that. I'm going to keep it in. 3, 6, 9, 12, 16 points of burn here. Given that he hurts himself a lot, this is probably a keepable hand. Obviously not liking the fact we don't have any creatures, but another thing to think about is it's likely that our opponent keeps a hand of land and removal to try and keep himself alive if he doesn't have early threats. So it just did an island. So a hand with this much burn and no actual creatures could well mean that we're blanking cards in his hand. Although, having said that, we of course immediately draw a Goblin Guide, which I'm more than okay with. Definitely going to represent 2 damage at the very least. Fantastic. He is not drawing a land. The Inquisitions of Kozilek, then that's fine. Probably lose Boros Charm or Searing Blaze, depending on what he's got in his hand. Goif. Goif is a bit of a pain. It just outclasses almost every creature you play. Goif almost makes me want to bring in anti-graveyard cards against this sort of deck, but I'm not sure if that's right or not. I mean, it makes sense, as obviously you shrink the Goif in that, but I'm not sure. Path is a pretty good draw. If I don't play Path, I could play Searing Blaze to suicide the Goblin Guide and take out the Goif. I then have Path for whatever he plays afterwards. But I think I'd rather... Ramping him doesn't feel great, but I don't really think this deck cares about land that much. I think we just need to keep applying pressure as much as possible. And this play allows us to do that without having to 2-for-1 ourselves. Suspend the Wrist Bolt here because I am thinking if he plays another Goif, then we can double up on burn next turn. If we have to, but that's next turn if he's playing a second one. I think for now, the play of not 2-for-1ing ourselves if we can avoid it is probably better, even though ramping is not great. So, I mean, what's the yeah? There's the Inquisition, which we knew he had. It's a bit frustrating, as he's effectively getting almost like a free Inquisition this turn, plus whatever he was going to do for 3 mana. I mean, Tireless Tracker would be pretty good. Good for us as well, because we've got the Searing Blaze. But then if he takes the Searing Blaze, then the Tireless Tracker is even better. Although he's just going to do nothing. Just fire this off at our opponent. Fine. Fatal Push. Does he have another one in hand though? That's the question. Abrupt Decay, no. So I could make the Goblin Guide indestructible. I could do that. And that would be using a card to do 4 damage to set saving 4 damage. Yeah, I don't like that because I'm thinking, given he's on 12, the burn we have in hand represents 10 damage. So he just needs to play another shock land, or I draw another burn spell, and we kill him with that. Whereas if I save the Goblin Guide with the Boros Charm, he'll only take 2 damage, draw a Fatal Push in his next go, which we now know is there because of the Goblin Guide, and we will have only really effectively, well, we'd be down 2 damage as a result because he just killed the Goblin Guide with a push. And there's no reason he doesn't, because he knows we're about to play this land. Well, when we play this land, he'll know that's what we have, and I don't really feel like not playing this land. So I think we just have to accept the fact that the Goblin Guide is dead here, and just throw this burn at his face. I mean, as I said before, we had such a high amount of burn. The fact that he does so much damage to himself or herself is more or less entirely in our favour. I'm not entirely sure what the blue is for in this deck. I assume it's for some sort of counter spells, which are probably in the sideboard. So either a negate or a dispel, something like that, just to kind of stop some of the burn. I don't know if that's... I don't know how good that is against us. I mean, obviously, they will stop some of the cards we're playing, but I'm not sure if 1-for-1ing and stopping a burn spell is going to be enough. I imagine it's probably enough in a game where he's drawn better than he has. I mean, he's only drawn 1 creature over what will be 4 turns when he untaps, and if he's able to protect a Tarmogoyf or a Death Shadow with a negate or a Spell Pierce and keep applying pressure, then that would make sense as to why that's there. It's kind of almost like Delver, Legacy Delver, or modern Delver decks, playing a threat, keeping it alive with a bit of counter magic. Or he's just playing Jace Vryn's Prodigies, which is also a very good card. Beginning of combat step, so now I know he definitely isn't going to counter anything. I'm feeling pretty good about what I'm about to do, which is burn him for a lot of damage, end step. I don't think he's playing land destruction, so I'm going to go for a mountain. I just don't think this deck plays any sort of land destruction effects, so I'm happy just to reduce the amount of damage we're taking off of our land. any burn spell. Can he gain life in response? Instant speed life gain? I just don't think there is any. I think I'm perhaps overthinking like what he'll have. Probably going to think I'm just being a complete arse for like slow rolling here, but there we are. Can't gain life. Ah, it was the top one, sorry. So can't gain life, 3 damage to each opponent. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I do this sometimes. I think, okay, he's got mana open. Is there a way he can gain life at instant speed? I don't just want to fire this off in my main phase, and then he gains a load of life in response. I've got nothing in my hand, and he does something obscene the next turn, and then controls the game with like counterspell or something. So yeah, totally overthinking that. For no real need, just kill your opponent. So yeah, that was game 1. Didn't see a single Death Shadow, so that unsurprisingly significantly improved our matchup.